Hello and welcome to another episode of Wanna Be Entrepreneur. Today I have another interview for you, and with me is Miguel Ribeiro, a Portuguese entrepreneur. Hey, Miguel.
Hello, Tiago. How are you? Thank you for the invitation.
No, thank you for accepting the invitation. I'm super excited to speak with you. The story how I met you it's actually quite interesting. I was browsing through LinkedIn and I found about your company, a startup, Portuguese startup called SheerMe, and yeah, I got super excited about it. And we spoke about it. We even considered the possibility of me joining the team, but back then, since I really wanted to start this entrepreneurial journey, end up not working out. But I was always super interested in actually learning about your growth. And yeah, I would first ask you, Miguel, to introduce yourself to the listeners. Who is Miguel?
So I'm Miguel Ribeiro. I am founder and CEO of SheerMe.com. And SheerMe is a discovery, booking, and payments platform for all well-being and beauty services. We want to make a revolution of how people book, find and book and pay their services and get cash back each time that they do that. So that's what we're doing. I also, it's not my first startup. I launched in 2009 the first table management system in Portugal. It was called Best Tables. It was sold to TripAdvisor in 2013, and then I joined the Indian company called Zomato in the very beginning of the company, and launched the first European office and all the other European countries that Zomato launched. So I was head of growth for Europe and South America. So that gave us a little bit of background and trust that we could do something on our own. Again, here in Portugal.
Yeah, that's an amazing pedigree and an amazing backlog you already have there. And I guess today what I would like to speak with you is more about the journey of SheerMe, yeah, the startup that you just also spoke about. But I mean, we can always go back also to your experience with Best Tables and with Zomato, because I think there's so much that the listeners here, the other entrepreneurs can learn from you.
We cannot talk about SheerMe without talking about the other projects that I've been into.
Yeah, because in the end, it's everything you learn that from before, right? That brought you where you are, and I guess now you are much more prepared for a startup. So if you compare your first startup, right, which was the Best Tables,
Yeah.
to now starting SheerMe, do you see like a big difference on how ready you are?
I think we're never ready for anything, and it was not. I think we're never ready to launch a startup. We think we are. We think we know
Yeah.
a lot more. We have different experiences, and I think we apply them in a different way. Um, I think the path that got us here will help us in the future for sure. But it's always different stages of the business. It's always different markets. It's always different challenges that we have. We
Mhm.
come by. So we launched SheerMe in the middle of a pandemic crisis. So
Yeah.
that I never had experience before. So we cannot predict what is coming next. So
Yeah.
so I think it's each challenge is a new challenge, and we have to prepare for it in the best way that we can.
I guess that's absolutely true. But even before we start speaking about SheerMe, I want to understand this. Why? I mean, you add everything. So Zomato, it's an Indian company, right? But it's super famous, and you're the kind of the representative of Europe and other countries.
Yeah.
Why did you have this need to leave everything and start something new?
I think all of us have a little bit of entrepreneurs in us, and despite being in Zomato for 7 years, I think I did a little bit of everything, launching a country, launching different offices across Europe, across the globe, implementing businesses across different markets and in cultures. I think that gave me a lot of knowledge. It was one of the best experience. I think it was the best experience that I had till today, working in Zomato, adapting to different cultures and working with
Mm-hmm.
amazing people that are still there, and others launch their own companies. So it got to a point that I did a little bit of everything at Zomato. So I needed something of my own. And
Right.
I saw the opportunity in the wellness and beauty sectors, because there's no diffused brand out there that is as known as Zomato or the Fork or other companies that work in food tech. So if you're hungry, you know where to get your food delivered from, or
Right.
where to book your restaurant. Or if you want to go traveling, you know that you have Trivago, you have Booking.com, you have other platforms that can serve you. For the beauty and wellness sectors, you don't have that many those many options, and there's no diffused one saying, okay, this is the one. So I believe there's a lot to be done here.
So, how did this idea first popped up in your head? You were working in Zomato, and how did it came to be?
So I have this idea since 2016, 15, 16, something like that,
Okay.
because we were launching. This was I was launching Italy with Zomato at the time, and I started noticing that what we were doing was applicable in other areas of business, and so Zomato has a concept of feet on the street. It has a content team that goes out in the street and they list everything that is out there. So every cafe, every restaurant, every place that you can eat or drink. And what I've noticed when I was with the content teams on the streets was that in each corner you have one restaurant, one cafe, one barbershop, and one hairdresser, and maybe some massage place. So
Yeah.
the number of listings for the restaurant area is very similar to the number of listings in the beauty and wellness sectors. So the potential of the business is very similar. And I started saying, okay, if I know so much about the food tech implementation, how to implement this business in the food tech area, if there's so much potential in the wellness and beauty sectors, why not create something for this sector? Because these guys are also very analog. They understand the importance of digital, but they haven't made the transition yet.
So I can see that you started getting very excited about this idea, and so tell me, this was 2016, but you only started SheerMe. When was it?
Um,
2000.
yeah, last year, 2020.
2020. So for these 4 years, the idea was growing in your head. So tell me, what were the first things you did? So you got the idea. Did you do some market analysis? How did it go?
So we didn't have much time for anything, because Zomato is not a job; it's a lifestyle, and we love that. And once you're there, you're all in, and you don't have any time for anything else. But it was always in my head, so I never developed the idea as a project, but the idea was in back burner on my head. So it was there, but it was not. I was not developing it. November 2019 was the moment that I think I decided that it was the time for me to take the step. And it was time for me to take the step because I've done a little bit of everything in Zomato. Um, I saw that a crisis was coming. We didn't know what was coming. And I started noticing that people understood that their immune system was not made of steel. They
Mm-hmm.
started noticing that, okay, something, some disease, some viruses is coming here. I'm not 100%. My immune system is not 100%. I should have taken care of myself in the past. So I thought to myself that this was the perfect time to jump in and grab this business.
Right.
So I created a whole plan of rolling out my position. I talked to the CEO Zomato at the time, and saying that I wanted to create my own project, and this fade out would take like a year. But then the crisis came in, and it hit strong.
Yeah.
And when it hit strong, we started listening to the Portuguese government say that, okay, everything is going to lock down, but when it opens, it will only be with bookings in hairdressers, in barbershops, in spas, and stuff like that. In gyms, you have to book your gym because there's a limited amount of people that can go to gym classes. And I
You
started,
saw the opportunity there.
yeah, the opportunity was there. If I did not launch at that point of time, if I didn't jump in 100%, I would lose the opportunity.
So you mentioned that the idea was in the back burner, right?
Yeah.
So this means that you were only thinking about it and you didn't do any market analysis, you didn't
Zero.
share it with your friends, or it
Zero.
was only for you, or did you
Well,
already share it around with your team?
Well,
Or
I shared with a lot of people, even with a ex-colleague of mine that launched a very similar business in Australia.
Mm, yeah,
So yeah, I shared the idea with some people. I didn't do anything actually to,
anywhere.
to 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 grow the business yet.
But how do you validate then your ideas? I think that's also very important for entrepreneurs, because I guess you have so many ideas, like every entrepreneur. How do you distinguish the ones that you think, okay, this is something, and this is not something? Like, how do you distinguish
So
this?
I believe that I don't validate anything. The market validates for us. I have an idea, I test it out in the market, and I see if it works out. So we see if the market has potential to grow. We test out um, a very like low cost kind of MVP to see
Right.
if it works out, and if it does, then we put more time into it. So I think um, we don't validate, the market validates. So I think that's the idea. Launch something, launch it fast, because I think that was we were pushed to launch a very raw kind of version of SheerMe in the beginning. So we started working in May, and we launched on the 15th of June, a very, very raw version of
Wow. Yeah.
SheerMe. Yeah. So as you can imagine, having just two developers or three developers working at the time, launching in a month and a half was a very, very low code kind of project, and
Of
and
course.
uh,
Yeah.
and it was what it was. But we launched anyway. But it was the best thing that we did, because if we launched the product that was in our head, it would not have been
It
the
would
right
fail. Yeah.
product. Yeah, because
Gotcha.
we launched something very raw. We went out in the market and we got feedback. And we said, okay, what
Yeah.
do you really need? Is this what you need? What do you want us to develop first? So with that feedback, we started developing, and I think that
Yeah.
was a critical moment for us, because I think if we had gone in a different direction, we would have had made a lot more mistakes than we did now.
Yeah. So you had the experience. You did in small. You released the product in small iterations. Which I totally agree. I think that's definitely the way. But still, like you left a steady job, which was Zomato, without actually knowing if this would work out. So just before we actually go to the building of the process, I still want to understand. Like, weren't you scared about this? Of you have a family, you have kids. Like, would you be afraid of losing, your stability?
Yeah, and worse than that. I guess I am get married. I have two kids. I'm over 40 years old. So yes, of course, there was a lot of things, but I also was scared to maintain the job that I had, because it got to a point of time that in my head I did a little bit of everything. So I was satisfied with with everything that I'd done and delivered in Zomato. So I think I was okay with that part of my history. And of
Yeah.
course, I had an exit. I had money in my pocket, and I could
Hmm.
do one of two things. I can go on vacation for some time with my family and rest. And by the
Yeah.
way, I'm not that kind of guy. Or I can get all that money and invest in something that is mine and leave a legacy of my own. And I think that's what we did. And today, my wife works with me. My daughter works with me. She's over 20 years
Wow.
old. She works with me. This is our life's project. So we believe that. I've been learning all my life to implement this business. So being or maintaining my job was as much of a risk as launching something of my own.
Yeah,
And I think I was not happy enough doing what I was doing. Not that I did not love Zomato. I loved Zomato and I still love Zomato. I think it was a big part of my life.
of
But
course.
I needed something else. I needed something of my own. I needed to take my own decisions, fail at my own time, and fix my own errors and mistakes, or collect my own wins.
That's what I love about the entrepreneurs. Like it's it's part of doing something is part of your life. It's not like just a job. Like you just said, Zomato is the style of it's my lifestyle, and the same with SheerME probably
Yeah,
because it's part of you, right? And you want to do things and you want to change the world, right? So that's
yeah.
what I really like about speaking with entrepreneurs. And okay, so now I understand you had a nice exit, I guess. So some backup plan and backup money, and so the team when you started, how many were you?
So we started around 6, 7 people, and
Wow,
today
okay,
today we're 14 people. Uh,
14 people.
yeah, and still
How did you
hiring.
get and still hiring? So who were these first seven?
So it was my team. Once, we learned a lot. In the background is good, is good to have. So the track record is very good to have. And working in a fast growth company, I think it gives us a lot of vision, a lot of good learnings. And one of
Right.
the things that I understood was I cannot launch a scalable business or a fast growth company if I don't have the support and of a leading team that can take care of the verticals of business without me. Okay, so I can focus on product, I can focus on leading, I can focus on marketing because those are my high spots, and I have the team that has my back and takes care of everything else. So from Zomato, I brought someone for marketing. From Zomato, I brought someone from subscriptions, from the area of subscriptions, and from content, and also from finance. Because one of the things that I believe that it's the last thing that any entrepreneur thinks about is finance and
True.
operations. But I think that's a huge mistake. If you control your finance from the beginning, you will have a more steady business from the start. So I think that's a learning that I did not have before and I had today. So
Right.
the 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 people that I brought with me were the backbone of this company, and also having a very relevant CTO. I think that's a
Yeah.
CTO that understands product, that understands what I'm saying, that has the vision and also the background that can make us work. So having a leading team was my first priority when I launched the business.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. And I know also when I worked in my startup that I noticed how important is it for, especially for the CEO, to have people that he can trust or she can trust,
Yeah,
and in areas that, because for instance maybe about the CTO, right, Alex, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe you don't know that much about tech, and it's a tech product, right? So you really need to have someone that you trust
Yeah.
that knows about that, right?
By the way, Alex was one of the ones that created the best tables almost 14 years back. So yes, he knows how I think,
Ah,
and more than that, I think there's between me, CEO, and Alex, the CTO, there's a
right.
balance there. So I'm 100% marketeer, and he's 100% tech and product. So he
Yeah.
brings me back or puts my feet on the ground when it's needed. And he always asks me, okay, if you want me to create this feature, why? Give me the why. And that makes us think. And sometimes I make him think as well. So I think the balance there is very, very, very important. So
Yeah.
once again, leading team, I think it's one of our strongest points that we have because we can scale fast and I think we can grow faster having the team that we have today.
Yeah, definitely. And when I spoke with you back then, I really saw that you had a great team and a great open mindset, and I think That's also what really attracted me to SheerMe, because I think the team, as you said, it's crucial.
Yeah.
So you got the team ready, people that you worked with for a long time, people that you are comfortable on sharing your ideas, and failing as well, right? I think it's also important
For sure.
so that you are comfortable to fail with, and then you started building the first MVP, that you said that it in I guess 3 months or 4 months you're already ready. So what did this MPP had? What were the first features?
Well, it had nothing. It was basically a directory where you can just search for the places around you and just call. If you find your barber shop, you can find it and then just click on the button and call. It was not a booking platform. It was nothing like that.
What was the main metric? What was the metric that you were looking to see grow?
Well, in the beginning, it was number of listings because we wanted to put in people's mind the scale of the business. Okay, we don't want to work only in Lisbon. We want to cover the whole country. If you're in the suburbs of Lisbon, you should be
Gotcha.
able to book your barbershop or whatever. So the scale of the business was important. But after that, it became a business, and we have four very precise or very focused KPIs, and one is the growth of our supply base, or clients merchants that are listed on SheerMe, and you can
Right.
book and pay. So that's one of the metrics, because
And they can create. Sorry, they can create the listing themselves, right? They can create their profile and so on themselves, right?
well, they cannot do it themselves yet. We're still building into the product, but they will be in the future. So the listing is free. If they want to have their services live and with the ability to book and to manage all their bookings, they
Right.
pay a percentage of each client that we send to them. So they have to sign a contract with us and be clients. But to be listed is 100% free. Okay, so
Right. And they can do it by themselves, or do they have to call you or something?
no, they at this point of time they just fill a form
The
and
form.
we list for them. We list them, and
Right.
or we find them and we list them, because basically all the places or most of the places should be listed. If they're not, they just ask and we do that for them.
Right. And that was the initial main metric, right?
Yeah,
You're trying to see if people would fill in this form,
yeah,
and how
yeah,
many
yeah,
of
yeah.
people would be interested.
And clients, because if we're building a marketplace, supply and demand are both needed. So you had to have the listings, but you also had to have the interest of the users, and we had both.
So that you would measure with number of website visits.
And the number of people that clicked on the button to call the place.
So those were the main metrics. Got you.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell me one thing, because this is such a hard platform for me, because it's like chicken and the egg, right? So you need
yeah,
you need the stores to get the customers, you need the customers to get the stores.
yeah.
But I guess I'm a developer. I hate marketing. I don't know how to do it. But right? You have this background. How did you do it?
Well, we think we know. We're always trying, because I think marketing is trial and error. Each time that
Yeah.
someone asks me, "Oh, do you think that this will work?" and my answer is always, "Let's try it. Let's test it out, and then we can see if it worked out or not." Because assumptions are the mother of all fuck ups. And
Yeah.
let's not assume anything. Let's try and have the metrics.
What was the first? How did you try in the beginning? What was your first trial?
So the first thing that we have to have is enough supply to be interesting for the demand side. Okay, so we have to have enough. You have to find enough barbershops that for you will be interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
or whatever other categories that we have. So supply is always the first thing that we have to work on. And if the supply is good, the users will use the service. So after that, the only metric that you look into is user growth. So
Yeah.
first of all, have the supply, have the interesting supply, have geographically spread out the number of supply services that you have, and then you will be interesting for the user.
Makes
And
little sense.
so that was the first the KPI. So we have, like I was mentioning, we have 4 KPIs: number of supply, number of users, number of page views, and number of bookings, because everything is associated one with the other. If you have enough supply, you have user interest. If you have user interest, you'll have traffic, and if you have traffic, you have bookings. So
Yeah.
basically,
What about returning? Is returning users, is that also important?
yeah, of course. If you have, but that's another cohort. So first of all, you have to have a user base, and then you can analyze if they're using or not. But growing the user base is more important at this point of time than pushing them to do to be the repeat to do the repeat bookings, because that's built into the product. You have pokes and nudges that we do automated with a product. And more than that, if you booked, you have money in your wallet. If you have money on your wallet, we will tell you, okay, you still have 10 euros on your wallet. Why
Yeah.
didn't you use yet? So that's built into the product. It doesn't have to be marketing to do that.
But you measure it, I guess. You still measure it.
It's still not a metric that we look into, not yet, because as a full-grown product, we just launched on the 15th of June this year, 1 year after the actual launch. So what we called SheerME 2.0 was just launched about a month and a half back. So we're not measuring those numbers yet, but we will very soon start measuring.
Of course, yeah, okay. Okay, so going back to our storyline. So you basically shared with the world the first version, SheerMe 0.1 or 1.0, I don't know, and you're just trying to see if people were if you could get listings and if people were clicking in the call button.
Yeah.
So what were the metrics? Were they? Did they overcome your expectations? How was that?
It depends on what are your expectations. As we were building the product, we were not expecting to have great numbers, but on the first 2 months that we launched, we had around 700 people that clicked on the button. So that was wow, yeah, something is happening here. 700 people clicked on the call button, and then we started noticing that the traffic escalated really fast. Of course, we had a lot of help, because me leaving Zomato created a lot of noise. So a lot of PR around what we were building. A lot of people were asking what this was. So we got a lot of PR, press releases, and the media got all over us when I launched SheerMe and left Zomato. The people wanted to know, okay, what is this guy building? So that gave us a lot of visibility at that point of time, but the product was shit. It was kind of good, but I think a lot of people got a bad impression of what we're building. Of course, we also worked on media and press releases and getting people to know that we are still developing the product, and we would launch very soon.
You built this product, you shared with your network, which brought a lot of attention. It was great for you to validate, but also maybe not so great because people got to see the product without being tuned yet and finished and finalized.
Yeah.
But so with that product, how were you able to get a partnership with L'Oreal and investors? Because you also closed your A series or seed round?
The seed round. Yeah, seed.
How did you convince L'Oreal and the investors to invest in something that is still not finished?
Well, I don't know, but L'Oreal I think was the biggest one, because at the point of time we were so L'Oreal asked for some players in the market to give them quotes, and they wanted a booking partner. So it was us, it was Walla, and it was Booksy, and they were analyzing these three. So Walla has 6 years old, Booksy has 7 or 8. Booksy just had closed a round of 75 million euros of investment. We were like 6 months old with a very shitty kind of platform. The competition made a comparison of what they were and what we were, and L'Oreal chose us But they chose us because of a very simple thing. We are not a SaaS product. We are a marketing platform to create new business, more visibility for their clients, not a
Yeah.
platform to manage existing business. So I think that's what L'Oreal saw in us. I think the investors saw the potential that we are building, and we're building something that it's very difficult. It burns a lot of cash very, very fast. But if we can make it, I think it will be a huge difference for the whole market. And
Yeah.
if there's a team that can do this, I would always.
It's yours.
I think so. I want to believe so, because if I was an investor, I would rather invest in someone that has done this before twice or three times. That's what we already did.
Yeah.
We already did this twice or three times with success. And I would rather put my money on these guys than on someone that just launched a business. And if I'm
Yeah.
if I'm an investor, and if I understand what we are building, SheerME is building, they clearly understand that we're not doing the same thing as other players in the market are doing. We're not a SaaS product. We're going the hard way, but we're very committed to being successful in what we're doing, because we know that 90% of the market values visibility versus a SaaS product, and that's what we were aiming to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. It's also a great story to sell to the investors, and you are the one pitching, right? Most of the time.
Yeah.
So okay,
Well, all the
let's
time.
all the time. Okay, so your experience is something that, of course, and that your team experience is something that sells almost by itself. But let's imagine that you don't have this experience. Let's imagine that you are starting SheerMe now, but you are like, I don't know, 25 or something, and your first startup. What would you use to sell this idea to the investors? What are your techniques, your tips? How would you sell it?
So I think this market is very difficult. So it helps me having this experience and the people knowing my background and all that. But being a 25-year-old, I think in selling this business, it has to, well, they have, at this point of time in the seed round, in the early stage business, I think investors invest more in the person and the vision that he has than in the product. They look for, is this guy able to have 100 guys behind him supporting his vision? Is he a
Right.
leader that can lead 100 people to success, 200, 500? So I think that is the question of the investors, and of course the business metrics have to be there. So you have to know your metrics really well, and you have to have the charisma, the leadership skills, and vision to drive a business to success. So I think those are the things the tips that I would give to anyone that is starting a business, because either you're and I'm talking specifically about what we're doing here, because if you're a
Yeah.
tech product, maybe you have to have another set of skills. But going for a business that is B2B2C, these are the things that you need to do. You need to be a good marketeer. You need to have the tools and experience to put a brand out there and create a trend in your city, in your country, a trend globally if you can. And you have to have the power to do so. So I think it's difficult. It's more difficult for a company like ours, a marketplace, than for any other kind of tech
Yeah.
business. But
Definitely.
basically, I think any entrepreneur has to be a good communicator. He has to be a good marketeer at the end of the day, because he has to market his company.
Of course. Yeah, that's a great tip. I think it makes total sense, right? Investors need to trust that you will handle everything, and I think that's a great tip.
Or if you don't, at least you have
Someone that will, yeah.
someone that will, that you have you're humble enough to say, okay, I'm a shitty guy at this area of business, but I'm going to get someone that is 10 times better than me. And also, I think another thing that is very, very good for investors and other people to understand is that you don't think you know everything. You're always looking for more feedback, and everyone can give you feedback. People that are better than you, people are the same as you, or people that are in different areas than you. Always the feedback is very important, and you're always uh, um, uh, on a growing spree. You're always
Yeah.
searching for feedback. What am I doing good? What I'm doing bad? How can I improve what I'm doing every day? So if you have this kind of attitude, also helps a lot.
And that's a great bridge for my next question here regarding feedback, because you said that if you had built your product without first collecting feedback, it would be very different than what the users actually wanted. So tell me, what did you learn that you were not expecting about how your product should look like or have?
So I thought that this area of business was analog. I already knew that, but I did not expect that they were so analog. They were so resistant to change and so
How analog are they?
very analog. So if I would say that restaurant owners were in 1998, I would say these guys are in 1983. So
Wow.
no, I'm being sarcastic, but yes, I think a lot of them, or a lot of this area, they don't they live in their own little world, and technology scares them, so they need a company to help them do this transition. Um, so they start to understand that the digital is very important for them because it brings new visibility and new business. A barbershop can stop being the barbershop of this street and being the barbershop of the city or the country, and get
Yeah.
visibility across with digital. So they're starting to understand this, but it's they there's a lot of hand holding that has to be done to do the transition.
But you're saying that that you learn that they are so super analog, and
Yeah.
you, now I understand. So uh, my question is, how did that reflect in the product? So what features did you have to introduce to cater to this more analog mentality?
So basically, it's not a product; it's a service. So in the beginning, so when each time that we acquire new clients, we support them with our support team f- until we understand that they're fully uh, capable of doing everything by themselves. What do I mean by that? If they get a booking, they receive the booking on the booking manager, on an SMS, and on an email. So we try to communicate in every way. But on top of that, our support team calls each one of the places for all the bookings that we have today, on specific places, on new places. We call them and say, okay, you got a new booking. Did you see it? Is everything okay? And they do. It's fine. But they feel the comfort of us calling them
Yeah,
once, twice, three times, four times, as many times as they need to, okay, I already got the SMS, I saw it on the booking platform, so everything is fine, we have it. If we hear this two or three times, then we leave them by themselves and it works out fine. But this
gotcha. Yeah,
support in the beginning is essential.
yeah, makes total sense. Now I understand you have to have a very good customer support, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Um, okay, so now you launched the SheerMe 2.0, and you immediately. So how did it go? You are you happy, satisfied with the product now? Are you uh, proud of showing it to your network?
Well, I'm prouder. I'm not 100% proud. I think
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
I think we're 1% done, and I think we'll always be 1% done. But and this was a term that we used a lot in Zomato, and I brought it to SheerMe. I think we're always going to be 1% done, because of the product has to improve, and the way people use it also, it changes along the way, and we have to adapt to that. So we have to have a tech team that is capable of understanding and giving us the feedback. Okay, we should do this, or we should exchange that, or we should automate this or that. So we have to continue to develop the product always in a way to serve the market better. So, prouder, yes. I think we're still far from what we believe the product will be as a product. I think there's a lot of things we still have to figure out, but I think that's the way that those are the milestones that we all have to step on, and it comes with time and feedback. But yes,
Yeah.
today I'm a lot more prouder. The product is a lot more aligned to what we believe as it can help the market, and we already saw the results. So we grew so much in the past 2-3 months, and I believe we're going to grow a lot more from September on.
Can you be more specific there in the metrics and the clients or users?
So we have fantastic metrics. We're growing month on month around 30%, 30 to 35% on the growth
Wow.
metrics that we have month on month. So this means that probably we will, and we hope that we will grow more than 500% this year. The GMV is growing very fast. So every month we bring more value to the merchants that are with us. So the business that we bring to the customers, and it's growing every month. The bookings are growing every month. We have fantastic numbers like the average amount is around 48 euros that people spend.
Wow.
17% of people that use are foreigners, because people don't like to talk on the phone. So 70% are foreigners.
Okay, yeah.
Almost 40% of the bookings happen after the places are closed. So people are getting more business in times that they usually did not have before. So the place is closed, I cannot pick up the phone and call, so they still do the booking on SheerMe. There's a metric that I would like to change. So 89% of people that use SheerMe are women, 11% are men, but we hope to change that very fast. Let me see other.
How do you hope?
So
Some
give
ideas?
more products, or give more visibility to bookings that men can do. So I think that's something that we're going to work on the future. Another, I think, interesting metric that we have is that north of Portugal has more bookings than Lisbon, and we have more listings in Lisbon than we have in Porto. So at this point of time, maybe people in Porto are going out more frequently to take care of themselves. I didn't know that. Maybe it's because Lisbon is still on vacation, but these are numbers that we have today. And
maybe there are more tourists in Porto or expats.
Well, I don't have that number yet. The 17%, if they're spread out more in Porto or in Lisbon, I don't have that metric, but I will. That's a good one to have. But also the traffic is amazing. We have over 100,000 page views per month. So this is
wow.
Yeah, this is.
And is this all organic, or are you investing in ads or something like this?
We don't invest more than, well, I'm going to maybe be a little bit bold, but we don't put 1,000 euros in marketing investments. Yeah, we don't.
So all like word of mouth.
Most organic, a lot of PR, a lot of social media. So yeah, a lot of things are bringing in traffic. But yes, I think we'll need to invest more in the future. But right now, I think we're still living out of the communication that we're still doing and the interest that people have. But
what is your best social media platform so far?
Well, I think we're very
Instagram,
even.
probably.
We're very even between Instagram and Facebook. We still have very few followers. We have like 9K followers in Facebook and around 10K followers in Instagram. But still, it brings a lot of visibility and a lot of traffic.
Yeah. Facebook, I think it's great for your target, right? Even though everyone says that it's dying, I think for that specific target, it might be great. Yeah. That's super exciting metrics. And so what are the challenges now? What keeps you awake at night?
Well, the numbers keep me awake at night. We need to grow, and we need to grow fast. So I think that's the main thing. And that's the thing that keeps me most awake, is that if we want to be a fast growth company, we need to keep on growing as fast as we are today, or even faster. So going to bed every day thinking, what can I do more, what I can do better, and how can I grow faster.
How do you feel? Do you feel more stressed than you felt with your previous companies? Do you feel more
Nah.
confident?
It's I'm always stressed and I'm always comfortable. So I'm comfortable with stress. I love these moments. I love these moments of the company that are chaotic. The moments that people are afraid of, they're the ones that I think I thrive in. I
Yeah.
love this moment of building something, of creating something, and of uh, passing all the challenges that we have every day. So I think that's what makes me get up from bed every day and coming to work with a smile on my face.
Yeah, it's I can really feel that energy from my side when I speak with you, and it was such a pleasure to speak with you, Miguel, and to learn more about SheerMe and about how you're conducting that business. As the last question, I think we already had so many tips, great tips for other entrepreneurs. But let's say that someone is now starting their startup. What would be if you could only give one advice? What would it be?
I think it's you have to be very relentless. Don't stop believing. I think. That's by the way, that's my alarm clock. It always jumps from that music from Journey. Don't stop believing. So I think that's the only thing that I can say to an entrepreneur. It's not easy. You have ups and downs, more downs than ups, but keep on feeding on the wins. It's not easy, but if you focus, if you really want this, and if you really want to make your business successful, you'll make it. You will do everything that you have to do to make it, but you have to work extra hours than the other guy. You have to work more hours. You have to put more effort, and you have to make a lot more compromises in your life than the next bloke beside you. So I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. You have to be relentless. You have to really want to succeed, and if you have that quality in you and that want, I think you'll make it.
Yeah, persistency.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. Don't stop believing. It's really great, a great tip. Miguel, thank you so much for speaking with me today. It was really a pleasure.
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to showcase and to talk about SheerMe to whoever wants to listen and know more about our business.
For sure, and I'm also, of course, very passionate about Portugal, about my country, and we have so many talented people and great ideas and businesses that it's really a pleasure to share them with my listeners. So I really appreciate you taking the time, Miguel, and I will share the link of SheerMe and Miguel's LinkedIn on the description of this episode. Besides that, I highly recommend for you to take a look in episode number 41. It's another interview that I did with another Portuguese entrepreneur. His name is João Amaro, and he was the one that brought Donido to Portugal. It's actually the only store of Donido was started by him, and yeah, it's a great story. And if you want to learn more about this, you can just go and listen to it. Episode 41. And if you're a first time listener and I have no idea what this podcast is about, hello, my name is Tiago. I am a software developer that's trying to become an entrepreneur, and this is basically my journey. So I highly recommend you to check the first episode. It's the pilot, and you'll better understand what is my goal. Besides that, you can follow us on Twitter, and please share this with your entrepreneur friends. I bet that they will like it too. This was another wannabe entrepreneur. See you tomorrow.